So in the previous video, we couldn't run this because my internet was off. So let's run it now and see the results. So I have this array of names. Now if I print names, what happens? You can see that we simply have all the elements on the screen. Now in a situation where I want to pick one element, one member of this class, let's say in this case we have 4 members. If I want to pick the second member, like we saw from the previous video, we said first we need the index. Now let's try to access index at 0. So this is how you access elements in an array. So we have names 0. So this 0 here indicates the index. So you write this square bracket, and then inside the square bracket you put your index. So if I do this, we have the value of John. So instead of this array, we have a single value now. So how do I get these values? We saw that there's a formula to get an index. You say index is equal to the position minus 1. So if I'm looking for an element at position 3, then my index will be equal to position, which is 3 minus 1, which is equal to what? 2. So in that case, I simply put 2 here. So if I run this, so the person at index 2, which is position 3, is what? Joe. So this is how you can access these values. So if you want to access a value at any of these values, you need to know the index. So you need to get the index, and then you can access the value. So note that the first index is always 0. So the first element will always have an index of 0. So if you want to access the first person in your array, or the first element of your array, then you have to use index 0. What if you want to access the last element? Now the last element will be the size or the length of your array minus 1. So since our indices start at 0, it will always be minus 1. So the size of this array is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this array has 4 elements. So that means the last guy is going to have an index of what? 4 minus 1, which is 3. So if I put 3 here, we have math. So the first element is always 0, and the last is the size minus 1. So how do I get the size? JavaScript has a method you can call an array called length. So if I want to get the length or the size of an array, I just say names.length. So names.length, let's print it somewhere. Let's just access the first element here. So let's say console.log. We just want to see what names.length will give us. So it gives us 4. So that means there are 4 elements in this array. If I add, let's say 2 more, hope and joy. Now our length is 6. So we have 6 elements in this array. So this is how we can get the size of an array. So we said if we want to get the last person is always what? The size of the array minus 1. So I can get this, put it here, and subtract 1 from it. So if I run this will always give me the last member of this array. If I add another person, Jude, you see, I get Jude. So this will always give me the last element of the array. So I don't need to know the index of the last person. So using this expression, I will always get the last person in this array. And if I want to get the first, remember the first we say is always 0, so there's no formula for this. So the first is always 0, so we just need to pass in 0 here, and we'll always get the first person in the array. And aside accessing elements, I can as well change an element. So let's say I want to change the first person from being John to maybe Peter. So let's access the first person there, and then let's also print the whole array on the screen so that we see the new content now. So if I run this, you can see that now we have the first person is Peter, and this is our array. So we have Peter, Mike, Joe, Matt, Hope, Joy, Jude. Good. So we can see that we can update our array as well. We can change any of these members, any of these elements in an array. So we just need to know the index, and then we say names index is equal to the new value we want to pass. So that is it for this video. See you in the next video.